But
Hey,
can I?
Go ahead.
Well, I noticed that you have 3 bridges here. I can understand the hybrid and the cable stay refined. Now, how does the refine and differ from, as you say, the cable stay?
Okay, so where we started off, at our February RBAC meeting, we kind of had 2 different types of cable stay. And we did that to explore the differences between them. If you put the cables here on the outside, what does that do? If you put the cables on the inboard, what does that do? If you have 2 piers or 4 piers, what does that do? Tall towers, shorter towers, what's the implications of that? So we explored a variety of cable stay types, and that, what you're seeing in that one column is the estimate from one of those types, kind of where we started last time in February, where we left the RBAC. And the charge was to take the best elements of those types we studied, combine them into one, and take the best of all the features. So we took the best of one type, the best of another type, and then the shorter towers of the hybrid, and we blended them. That's why we call it a cable stay refined. So what you're seeing there is the cost for the refinement.
So this is an experiment, in other words.
This is a development.
Okay.
The way I would say it is, yeah, the design is developing. And then what we did is, the cable stay was where we visited last with the committee, and so we wanted to show where they were last, and then we continue to refine based on the directions that we got and some of our own technical knowledge. So the cable stay refined, if you will, is just that. It's a refined design that I think meets more of the objectives than the original one.
And the only objection of the committee was basically aesthetics of the
There was a minority that preferred the parabolic shape, where
between these 2 bridges.
Yes.
It's just basically the towers and the aesthetic.
And I would say that there, even amongst those who preferred the parabolic shape, they felt that the refined cable stay was a very good bridge and was a fine choice. There was some issue of preference in terms of that design decision.
And the 29 million. I haven't heard you say it, that they talked any about the cost.
Oh, absolutely. I think it was very clear that there was a weighing of, value around the committee table. I think those who were more sensitive to value probably found it easier to go with the cable stay refined. Those that were more focused on design being the primary choice were less. But that's what a good group evaluates, and I think they did a fine job of that.
Just as we leave this, I thought one of the most telling comments was by the new bridge architect we have, Donald McDonald, who really indicated that from a bridge design standpoint, the consistency, the lines were always going to be straight on the outer sides of those cable stays. Those lines were going to be straight if you could get a rod on both sides. And so he pointed out that, from a consistency standpoint, it makes good architectural sense to have them straight on the inside as well, and that consistency was important. And I think that at least made, probably didn't change anybody's mind, but made those people who had really stayed with agreed that the cable stayed refined was the appropriate one, that really reinforced that, yeah, that's important architecturally as well. That is the consistency of the straight lines, rather than in the center a curve and on the outside the straight line.
Just to note that I think we can continue to see this bridge being refined during the preliminary engineering phase. Many architectural features, the shape of the towers, the sort of architectural details associated with it will all start to be added to this fairly plain template that you see right now over the next few months.
And you're talking about the depth of the piers. They're farther out in the channel. Am I looking at it correctly?
Yes, that would be a little better.
And that's better for fish habitat as far as.
Yes.
And now how's that work in the channel as far as the ships coming through?
It's still wider than we would absolutely require, so we're still above the, if you will, minimum channel depth or width that's required. So we meet that standard.
So 10 years from now, we won't have to dredge.
No.
Okay.
Another question for you real quickly. Explain a little bit when you talk about tower height, I can essentially talk about the top of the pier.
Yeah.
And when you say the clearance, is that between land, or what do you,
no,
when you
it's-
say
it's-
that, like 680,
So that's this,
oh, between the two?
Yes.
Gotcha.
And you might recall from a previous presentation, this is a part of the river where two channels sort of come together, so it requires a bit wider than frankly the other bridges over downtown there. There's one where there's really no channel.
so these are the things that Neil was talking about that will be kind of the next steps. We have several workshops coming on this month, next month, so it'll be a process as we refine those. This is just the basic shape. Now there's a lot of work to go over the next year.
Do you anticipate that we would have to use any of our condemnation rights in order to complete this alignment?
Certainly for the alignment, not specifically for the bridge. I do think that right now we have good cooperation and actually excitement by the property owners that are affected on either side of the bridge. But much of theirs, it is actually quite true. Perhaps we should come back to you here at some point in time in the next year and describe there's a lot of right-of-way required for the Milwaukie project overall. And it will be a very big part of the effort for part of that. And in that regard, certainly condemnation for actions will be required.
Earlier in the project, there was some concern about the steepness of the angle coming onto the two landings. Has that all been resolved in this design?
It's actually a great segue to the next one.
Okay.
Vertical clearance. Vertical clearance is the distance between the water and the underside of the bridge. And we committed to do some more research. So the team has done quite a bit of research. All the vessels in the river, looked at all the river data over the last 100 years, did statistical analysis, met with every single river user, found out their vessels, their concerns, what months they used the river, all those items to explore a whole range of heights. We looked at 17 different possible heights of the bridge. We did all the analysis. What's the number of days you couldn't go underneath the bridge? And then we took a look at, looking at that analysis, every time you go up another foot, maybe you get another little part of a percentage you can go under, you go up another foot, maybe just a little smaller. So when the bridge is low, there's a lot of obstruction, but the higher it goes, you get higher and higher percentages of
The
passing.
river, yeah.
So you end up with kind of a point of diminishing return. For every extra foot, maybe I get a 0.5% more clearance over a whole year. If I go up another one, maybe I get a 0.2% more. So that's another couple days. So there's kind of that point of diminishing return. So we said, well, about 77, 36 seems to be kind of that point of diminishing return, kind of that sweet spot. That's pretty close to the Selwood, which is 75. And then there's the UPR, there's a railroad bridge down by Lake Oswego, which is 74. So it's about in that ballpark. And then we said, okay, what about the land side for that? Remember, as the bridge gets higher, you get taller walls, steeper platforms, more fill, buy more right-of-way. Each one of those has an implication. So we said, well, how far can you push it before it starts to have significant implications? It turned out to be about the same height. So it's okay, well, from the river users, that's about right. From the land side, that's about right. So that's kind of our draft where we are today, but we still have some more homework to do. And that's working to understand the implications of future navigational. And that's kind of the Coast Guard who will issue the permit. Their test is reasonableness for existing and future. So we kind of have the existing pretty well understood. We still have more work to do on what the future is. We've got some science on that with the Port of Portland and with the Coast Guard that's going to give us some help on understanding.
You alluded to the bridges south, the bridges north, I take it, because they're pretty, I mean, they can go up.
And the bridge is more to the north or towards the working harbor, where really the bridge is towards the south. Really, it's not part of the working harbor anymore. You know, the locks that are down there by the falls no longer operate. They may in the future, but there are two existing bridges that are lower than the Milwaukie coast.